Chapter 1. The kingdom looked perfect from the outside. Golden markets, disciplined guards, and high towers. But behind the beauty were wounds. Farmers taxed beyond survival. Young men forced into repetitive, meaningless duties. Women restricted by outdated roles. Scholars silenced. Inventors forbidden to innovate. Commoners not allowed into noble zones. Traders controlled by ancient permit systems. The kingdom was a painting. Beautiful, yes. But cracking. And King Alden saw every crack. Every morning, he walked the balcony and whispered, "My father ruled with iron. Must I do the same?" But he was not his father. Alden was more thoughtful, more observant, more burdened by empathy. And the breaking point came the day he visited the old quarter. Chapter 2. King Alden disguised himself in ordinary clothes. And walked through the commoner district. He expected complaints. He expected hardship. But he did not expect what he saw. A starving girl begging a baker for stale bread. A wounded soldier denied treatment because he lacked noble papers. A brilliant young boy carving mechanical toys. But told, inventions are forbidden. A mother beaten for selling goods without a noble permit. When Alden reached the center of the district, a man collapsed beside him from exhaustion. Alden grabbed him. "What happened to you?" The man whispered. "Taxes, my lord. They take what we do not have." Alden's heart felt as if a sword sliced through it. This was his kingdom. These were his people. And he, their king, had allowed this. That night, he couldn't sleep. The echoes wouldn't stop. Taxes. They take what we do not have. Permits. Forbidden. Not allowed. He stood from his bed, walked to the mirror, and saw not a king, but a prisoner of tradition. "Enough," he whispered. "It is time for change." Chapter 3. The next morning, King Alden gathered his council. Old men with stiff collars. Rigid spines. Eyes that shone with pride and arrogance. Alden spoke clearly. "We will remove the old taxes. Allow inventions. Open trade to all. Invite commoners into the capital. Reform the laws. And end the noble privileges that hurt the kingdom." The room froze. Then erupted. "Impossible. Your father would never. You will destroy the kingdom. This is madness. This is rebellion against tradition." The High Chancellor slammed his cane. "These reforms will not be discussed. Not by you. Not by anyone." Alden narrowed his eyes. "I am the king." But the Chancellor replied, "And you are not your father." Gasps echoed. This was betrayal dressed as advice. Alden realized something. The council didn't serve the kingdom. They served themselves. And now he had a new enemy. The old system. Chapter 4. Alden secretly called upon General Eric, loyal to the throne. Lyra the inventor, a genius banned from practicing. Scholar Elwyn, keeper of forgotten history. Sarah of the People's Guild, voice of the common folk. These four stood before him late at night in a hidden chamber. Alden explained his plans. Instead of fear, he saw hope in their eyes. Lyra stepped forward. "My king, you are trying to build a future our kingdom has never dared to imagine." General Eric placed his fist to his chest. "I will protect this change with my life." Sarah kneeled. "The people need you. They are ready for a new dawn." Elwyn whispered. "Great kings are not remembered for preserving comfort, but for challenging the impossible." Alden felt something ignite in his soul. A movement had begun. Chapter 5. Elwyn took the king to a hidden chamber under the castle. A place no one had entered for decades. They opened ancient scrolls and discovered Eldoria was once a land of inventors. A kingdom of freedom, creativity, innovation. But a great war centuries ago led rulers to impose strict control. They shut down progress to avoid chaos. But in doing so, they trapped the kingdom in the past. Alden realized he wasn't breaking tradition. He was restoring Eldoria's true identity. That had been stolen by rulers who feared change. He placed his hand on the ancient scroll and declared, "I will return Eldoria to what it once was." Chapter 6. The old council panicked. If the reforms succeeded, their power would crumble. So they conspired. They planned to accuse the king of treason, remove him from the throne, install a puppet ruler, and keep the kingdom chained forever. They bribed guards, manipulated nobles, spread rumors, even poisoned public opinion. One night, the chancellor said, "The king must be stopped. We will rule in his place." But Alden had already expected their betrayal. He needed one decisive moment. To turn the entire nation. He needed a spark. To ignite the revolution of change. That moment came sooner than expected. Star Chapter 7. A massive earthquake hit Eldoria. Bridges collapsed. Walls cracked. Homes fell. Markets burned. And the old quarter suffered the most. The council panicked. They ran to protect their wealth. But King Alden, he ran to protect his people. He personally lifted stones off wounded villagers. Carried children on his back. Organized rescue teams. Ordered food and water distribution. Used palace resources to rebuild shelters. The people saw him, not as a distant ruler, but as their protector. Whispers spread. The king is with us. He saved my child. He carries stones with his own hands. He is not like the old kings. This was the spark. Alden's moment. Star Chapter 8. 5 days after the earthquake. Alden stood on the balcony before thousands of citizens. His clothes still stained with dust. His voice calm, proud. My people, I have seen your struggles. I have seen your pain. And today, I will change the fate of Eldoria forever. He raised the ancient sword of kings. I declare the start of the great reform. Gasps, cheers, tears. Alden announced. End of unfair taxes. End of class restrictions. End of noble-only privileges. Freedom for inventors and scholars. New system of fair trade. Equal rights for all. And from this day forward, Alden declared, the kingdom belongs not to the nobles, but to its people. The crowd roared. Hope exploded like wildfire. The council, watching from shadows, trembled. The king had united the kingdom. Their power was slipping. Star Chapter 9. Desperate, the council launched a coup. They stormed the throne room with loyal guards. The chancellor declared, King Alden, you are hereby removed. But the palace guards stepped back. And General Eric stepped forward. The king stays. You leave. A fierce confrontation erupted. But the people, thousands of them, marched toward the palace gates. When they heard the king was in danger. The council was trapped. Their coup crushed. By the very people they once oppressed. Alden offered mercy. But exiled them from power forever. A new age had begun. Star Chapter 10. Under Alden's reforms, inventors created new tools. Farmers gained fair rights. Scholars opened new academies. Women took leadership roles. Trade flourished. Roads were rebuilt. The economy exploded. Class walls dissolved. Festivals returned. Crime dropped. The kingdom glowed like never before. Foreign nations were stunned. Eldoria became a beacon of progress. A place where anyone, commoner or noble, could rise. And it all happened because of one decision. A decision that nearly cost the king everything. But Alden knew, if a king fears change, he does not deserve the crown. Star Chapter 11. Years later, King Alden stood on the same balcony. The kingdom thriving. Children laughing. Citizens equal. Prosperity everywhere. Alden whispered to himself, my father ruled with fear. But I ruled with hope. He looked at the sun rising over Eldoria. And said, a kingdom's greatness lies not in its walls, but in the hearts of its people. And with that one final truth, King Alden Harrington became a legend. The king who changed everything.